what we see right now, which looks like the usual setup.
Looks like mulligans.
I didn't quite get a good enough look at Richard's.
Deck to figure out what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll figure it out momentarily, I'm sure. Oh, okay. So it looks like another lands deck because there's Sylvan Scrying. Yeah, Thespian Sage, Sylvan Scrying. I think I saw an Abrupt Decay in hand. So you know, if it is against a Delver deck, that Abrupt Decay is going to be great.
Yeah.
So I think Richard's got some pretty reasonably good tools here.
Delver.
Yep, there it is.
So let's see what Richard drops turn one. It's thinking about it.
What is that? Is that maybe one of the new Urborg printings?
Maybe? Yep, it is.
Okay.
Any Inquisitions? Wow.
Oof.
Yeah, so that it's a choice between not a whole lot.
It looks like Strix and yeah.
And Ponder. So obviously the Strix, because that can get in the way a lot. Really
Well,
quickly.
yeah, especially if your plan is to fling a Merit Lage. Well, not fling, but put a Merit Lage into play and hit your opponent in the head with it.
And Mox. Mox Diamond. It's from the Vaults, Mox Diamond. A bit surprising. You don't see enough of those.
Hey, it's a nice looking card.
Yeah, so
So I had Delver Flips. Keeping in mind, I'm pretty sure I saw Richard have Abrupt Decay, so he can realistically deal with this Delver anytime he feels like it.
yeah. I mean, right now I guess you just sort of hold on to the Abrupt Decay to see if anything more valuable comes out. But
Yeah,
if it gets
because I don't think the Delver is. I mean it's a clock, but it's not super important to what Richard's trying to do right this second.
Yeah.
And when you have the Abrupt Decay, so you know that your opponent can't really actually protect it.
Yeah.
Pretty good position for him.
Yep, and
There's the Dark Depths.
yeah, it's quite the altar.
Is it an altar, or is that maybe...
Or the promo.
Yeah, because that looks like the weird legendary... the legendary
Bordering.
printing, yeah.
So... ends up doing an end of step fetching.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, end of turn.
Now, I don't know if Jeffrey found a wasteland off of any of those cantrips. If he did, I think he's doing okay.
Yeah.
If he didn't find a wasteland, I think he might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, because
This is gonna get pretty silly pretty quickly.
pretty out of hand.
You know what I like when you get deck lists without the player names on them.
Yep. So
Oh, there it is.
we got Jeffrey here, and looking for Richard.
Yep. So Jeffrey is playing the ninja, and Richard does have. Okay, so Bitter Blossom is going to be reasonable.
Yep. It's
Especially because Richard just used his Abrupt Decay on the Delver.
Yep.
Not sure if he's regretting that now. Because, he can make the Merit Lage token, and, the Bitter Blossom is just going to stop that from mattering. Whereas I'm not sure if the Delver really, you know what I mean? If that's something he really cares about.
I mean, the part of it is that Delver does still get the damage in.
Yep.
That could Richard effectively could sit on the defensive there. Oh, and another
Okay,
abrupt
well,
decay.
or 2 abrupt decays. So
Yeah.
that seems pretty good. And
Yeah.
that's your abrupt decay on a Delver.
Yeah.
Worth noting, so Jeffrey does have the 3 far and aways in his main deck, which are just like excellent against Merit Lage. Also has, like Diabolic Edict, so it's kind of one of those things where and Engineered Explosive. Oh no, Indestructible, never mind.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
So it's kind of one of those things where I think Jeffrey's actually set up in a lot of ways where he doesn't actually lose to, getting a Merit Lage in play.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if Richard is running any way to... Oh, no, he's got 2 life from alone, so he can kind of loop the tokens, which kind of gets around all the interaction that Jeffrey does have for a Merit Lage token. I have to feel that Jeffrey's in an okay spot here. Like that game definitely did not maybe go how he'd like, and you don't want to be down a game, but he has a lot of cards that interact with what Richard is doing.
Yeah.
And
it looks like Richard's pulling in a lot of hand disruption.
Yeah. Which I think is quite good.
Yeah. And it looks like he's also opting out of certain...
Yeah, I'm not too sure what he brought out there. Was it...
Yeah. Or is he just removing a lot of the hand disruption? Yeah, the Sylvan Library, I think, might not be too helpful for him.
Yep. We saw in one of the other games that, Sylvan Library, when you're under a bunch of pressure by Delver, not doing anything, really.
Yeah. Just allows you to sort of filter your deck, but you basically run out of options really, really quickly. Unless by some way and means you pick up all 3 of your combo pieces that you can play at the same turn.
Yes. And then, they just can't get through a Bitter Blossom.
Yeah.
So, Jeffrey down a game, but has lots of things that are good here. And certainly, I think, gets not a ton better post-board, but definitely gets a little bit better. I think Pithing Needle he probably wants.
Yeah.
He has 2 more copies of Bitter Blossom, so that brings it up to 4. And the Surgical Extraction. So yeah, I like Jeffrey's position here. I would say he's maybe favored going forward, but again, he's down a game, so all you need to do is get that soft hand and just get totally run over. Which,
does happen.
Yeah, the Turbodex deck kind of what it does.
Yeah.
is run you over if your hand is not great.
Yeah, that's the
and it's quite resilient, I think, which we saw in some of the other games where it's like multiple wastelands and stuff like that, and it's just kind of like that's okay because you just keep drawing into stuff.
Yeah.
Important. Jeffrey is only running 1 wasteland.
Huh. That's quite the choice there.
Yeah, I think he's opted to go with 2 Mutavault, and I guess that's instead of 2 additional wastelands. So a little bit tricky for him to kind of blow up lands indefinitely.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd choice in my mind, but I guess if you're sort of pushing the Bitter Blossom plan, is really helpful.
Yeah, I think Jeffrey's not necessarily on the keep him off Merit Lage so much as the I can deal with Merit Lage.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where I think strategically it's a little unexpected, but kind of more to the point. Especially if you know you're going to be up, if you are going to be up against things like Life from Alone, Wasteland kind of feels dead in the water in a lot of ways.
Yep, for sure. And now Richard in his sideboard, not a lot that's very exciting. Fatal Push. He does have Hymn to Turak, Assassin's Trophy, Toxic Deluge, Liliana Last Hope. He does have Choke, There goes the Strix.
Yeah, he just cast Unmask. So, which is kind of a bit surprising, but not really. He is running only one in his deck, in his sideboard, sorry.
Okay.
So, seeing that off the top, he gets rid of the crop rotation. And he's actually has a really... he's coming out really strong right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So... this is kind of a fun little game to watch right now, because this is sort of, I guess, the expected Delver play right now is just, you know, turn 1, turn 2, you're swinging in for 6 damage.
Yep.
And a Bitter Blossom.
There's a Bitter Blossom, so this is a very, very good start for Jeffrey.
Yeah, he's got a lot of pressure coming in, and I'm wonder how Richard's going to handle this. Drops a Bayou. And let's see if maybe a Sylvan Scrying. Jeffrey gets his tokens ready.
Yep. Yeah, he's planning on that Bitter Blossom sticking around. I don't think it's getting blown up this turn.
Yeah, I mean, Richard could afford an Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
But
now, worth pointing out, Richard does have Maelstrom Pulse in his deck.
Oh.
So potentially, you know, a wall of Bitter Blossom tokens may not actually be good enough. Yeah, and definitely.
Assassin's Trophy. There you go. So that gets Jeffrey to pull out, I think, the one of 2 basics in his deck.
You know, Assassin's Trophy is just such a good card. Like,
yeah.
It deals with any problem you might have.
Yeah.
You know, your opponent has a Wasteland, trophy it. Your opponent has a Delver, trophy it. Can't get through Bitter Blossom, trophy it. Like, it's such a good card. It has to feel like one of the main attractions to playing Black-Green right now.
Yeah, between that and Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
Like, Abrupt Decay really gets around Chalices.
Yes, yeah.
Gets around a lot of... because it can't be countered. It just gets around so much, and it's a really decent spot removal, especially when you're up against efficient decks like Delver.
Yep.
You're just like, oh, Tarmogoyf, I don't care if it's a 4/5. It's gone. And Assassin's Trophy just adds a bit extra more, because you don't see a lot of basics being played.
Yeah, if you can get, you know, like, blow up a land and, you know, your opponent doesn't have basics, you know, you get to play Vindicate.
Yeah.
Which seems all right. You know, Vindicate's not a bad card.
Yeah, especially since it's 1 mana cheaper and in much more enjoyable colors.
Yes, exactly.
Orzhov is a little bit trickier to play in competitive.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to see some really efficient Orzhov decks, but they're not really easily afforded mana-wise.
Yeah, I think, well, because I think part of it, like, Stoneforge Mystic is maybe just not where people want to be right now.
Yeah. It feels a bit tired, what with...
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, it's... You know, Jitte is pretty good, but, like, when people are doing, like, Merit Lage things and, like, Eldrazi things, like, Jitte is kind of just so-so.
Yeah.
It's good against Delver, sure. But you can't only play against Delver, even when you're playing Legacy.
Yeah.
You know?
It's one of those meta cards that kind of seems to lose value based off the meta.
Yeah, when people are not playing stuff like Elves and Death and Taxes and stuff like that, it's kind of becomes very medium.
Yeah. But it's kind of surprising. Richard is...
Oh boy.
Wow, 2.
Are we going to see Ninjutsu? I think we're seeing Ninjutsu.
He's
like, wait, here we go. Yes.
Oh, with the Delver. And he brainstorms, so this probably will be a lot.
Yeah. Richard, of course, going, Eureka, the Tiger Shadow? What?
Okay, whatever. So, writes that down, and... Okay, so it looks like maybe 1 to 2 additional damage, unfortunately. But having that brainstorm is a good benefit.
Yep.
Because that means he can really fix.
I mean, you know what? Like Richard is dead next turn if he doesn't find something quite good, and I'm not sure what he really even has that helps him out here.
He has a Maelstrom Pulse.
Yeah.
So if he can,
I think that's reasonable if it can actually resolve.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the Dark Depths because he could benefit from doing block and pop with the Hex Mage there, but unfortunately, it's not something that he can readily get away with.
That's far and away, so Merit Lage Token doesn't do anything.
Yeah, okay. So, very obviously goes for the Maelstrom Pulse on that, and it looks like he can sort of get away with this right now just because he can block with the... I think he can block. I'm not too sure if Yuriko is unblockable or not. But
it's definitely the colors for unblockable and blue-black, but
I think
there's a pretty good chance like Jeffrey sets up something that, you know, just does the 4 extra damage to Yuriko.
He does have options.
Remember when split cards were the total mana, you know, like that would have worked.
Yeah.
Or are they the total now? I forget how that works.
I think they are the total now.
Oh, okay, so that...
No, they are the total.
So that would conceivably be 5 damage.
Yeah.
Because it looks like that's what he's going for.
Yeah. I mean, keeping that far and away is...
Yep. With the Hex Mage.
Yep. Keeping the far away in his hand when you don't see a Dark Depths being played...
And there's the Pithing Needle. Yeah. It's going to be tricky for Jeffrey to lose this one, I think.
Yeah, it's Richard is really set back by a lot. Not having a Hex Mage, not having the...
And, you know,
his
just
stage.
Having an answer even if a Dark Depths does get into play.
Yeah.
And so I think Richard kind of figured out how Yuriko works, because, you know, blocking with that Hex Mage is a real cost. But I think he understood that, you know, there's probably someone on top of the deck that just kills him, such as, you know.
Yeah, so the far and away causes a flip. I think at this point in time, there's really no answer that Richard can come up with, because he's at 5, I believe, currently.
Yep.
Unfortunately, his life total has disappeared off of our screen.
I believe he is at 5, yeah.
Yeah, so the... This is kind of a key point right now, because if he can't let Yuriko through.
I think he's got to throw the bob in front.
Yeah, which is kind of painful because
it's not what you want for 2 mana.
Yeah,
you know, 2 mana fog one of your creatures.
That's very limited play, kind of.
I don't think that's even good enough for limited. You know what I mean? Because it's like 2 mana chump block is pretty bad because he's still dead.
Yeah.
You know, like next turn that Delver hits him, and you know you're dead. Like that's 0 because this will put Richard down to 2.
Yeah, I mean it really depends on if he has another creature in hand and if he.
Sure, Baleful Strix. Why not?
Okay, there you go. I think Richard was hoping to draw a very specific card, and it came through. So it looks like they're going to game 3. This is...
So, I mean, yeah, I think it's going to help that Richard's on the play, but I still have to think that Jeffrey is fairly favored in the matchup for what's going on.
Yeah. It's a Dark Depths deck tends to be very tricky to really. You don't get Merit Lage really early.
No, and so okay, so Richard does have access to a sweeper in Marsh Casualties. I wasn't totally sure of what that card did. It's not a common one that we see, but it is black. Creatures target player controls get -1/-1 until end of turn. If it was kicked, the kicker cost being 3, those creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn instead. So
it's a pretty good token sweeper.
Yeah, I mean, and it will blow up your Delvers if you cast it for 5, but that's getting kind of expensive.
Well, actually, no, because the Insect Aberration is a 3/1.
No, it's 3/2.
Is it 3/2?
Fairly certain, frequently wrong, so let's find out.
Yeah, because I know for sure if the Delver doesn't flip, you get some value out of that.
Yes.
Because it's a good old 1/1.
Transform. Nope, it's a 3/2.
So it costs a little bit extra to get those.
Yeah, I mean, 5 is hard to get to against the Delver deck, but we'll see.
Yeah, it looks like that's
okay. So he's got the Mox. He's got a Wasteland.
That's a tricky hand to keep though, because like
Urborg. You know what? He's got the crop rotation. He's got Sylvan Scrying. I think he probably keeps it.
He can. Actually, because with the Sylvan Scrying, you can actually fetch a land. So if you pitch both the lands in your hand for the Mox Diamond, play the Sylvan Scrying that turn, you can play a land. So you have 3 mana up turn 1.
Yeah. So I mean, it seems reasonable.
Yeah. It's just a matter of if Jeffrey feels like actually Force of Willing any of those. The only thing is that if you counter a Mox Diamond, they don't have to discard a land.
Now, it is possible that Jeffrey didn't keep his Force of Wills in, because I don't think we saw them that game.
I saw them
did we?
in the shuffle there. But, because how many Force of Wills is Jeffrey running? 4.
4, yeah.
He might have, but I don't know.
So he's got Fatal Push, so... Yep. Again, lots of ways to... Oh no, Merit Lage is indestructible.
Yeah,
deals with Hex Mage. I guess it deals with Bob.
So, we're seeing the...
We're doing it.
Oh!
Okay.
So, that's a bit of a surprising...
I guess it's the safer play.
Yeah, because you can fetch up any sort of non-mana producing land and still have it produce mana.
Yes.
Which is considerably more helpful. Or if you have a Life from the Loam in the hand, you can just pitch that land.
Yep, and there's the Dark Depths.
Yeah, so I think Richard's getting pretty swiftly set up for for his end game there.
Yeah, he's got 2 mana in play and a Dark Depths in the hand, and Jeffrey hasn't played a card yet. So it's a pretty good start for what his deck is trying to do.
Yeah, I'll see if Jeffrey can actually... Maybe he's second-guessing the hand that he kept. Right now, he seems a little on the ropes.
We'll see. I definitely do like Richard's start, though.
Yeah. So we see some of the Force of Wills that he has. He's going for non-basics. Going for the island there. Which, with the Urborg up, kind of...
Yeah. It's kind of all the same.
Yeah. So... I might as well keep it a little bit symmetrical there with the Urborg. And does he open up with... Yep. I still don't know the name of that.
That's either a Moth Dust Changeling. It must be, because...
Yeah.
I don't think it's one of the new printings of Spellstutter Sprite, but I don't think Spellstutter Sprite has been reprinted, has it?
I don't think so. It might have been... Oh, it was a promo.
Okay.
But... yeah, that is the Moth Dust Changeling. So... maybe he's hoping to get his turn 2 Eureka going.
Yeah.
That would be...
Well, because it's a good damage source, but it also might draw him into, some of the far and aways and stuff like that he needs to deal with any tokens that do come up.
Well, Richard drew a Bayou off the top. So, he has a lot of options right now still.
Mm-hmm.
And he plays the Safekeepers. Now, if I remember correctly, I think Safekeepers protects the lands.
We can look it up. Because it's not a card I'm familiar with either.
Yeah, it's run a lot in a lot of the turbo depths.
We've seen it a lot today.
Yeah, and
sacrifice a land. Target creature you control gains Shroud until end of turn. So that's setting up for the Merit Lage.
Yeah,
which, you know what? That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, especially with
you now need 2 far and aways to bounce it.
Yeah, and
there's the Fatal Push.
Yeah, we can see why you kept those in. It's kind of a reverse Sejiri step.
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really all in though, if you think about it, right? Because if you've got Thespian Stage, you're blowing up 2 of your lands, and then now you're also sacrificing lands to give your thing protection. So like you could, in theory, end up with your 20/20 on the board, and I have no lands.
Yeah. The trickier parts of really trying to get yourself. With Turbo Depths, you're really looking at a very oddly specific efficiency.
Yeah.
And you can, especially things like Mox Diamond and that sort of thing, you can run out of resources fairly quickly in a lot of different ways. Losing 2 lands to the Dark Depths cloning there with Thespian Stage. It's really hard to capitalize. It's like surfing in a way. You have to wait for the waves to come in.
Yep.
And it looks like Hexmage.
Hexmage. Oh, okay.
That's a good.
It's not bad when you've got Dark Depths in play.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, right now with the the Moth Dust Changeling. Jeffrey can't do his Eureka plan, unfortunately, now.
Yeah. So I'm curious what Jeffrey has in hand, because we're not able to see all of it. Like, does he have a way to answer the 20/20 or not?
That's a trickier part. I mean, like Richard has a lot of momentum. That strong opening has carried over quite well until the last few turns.
Yeah, he's by and large been able to do what he needs to do without getting disrupted. Like he lost a Sylvan Safekeeper, but he's cast Sylvan Scrying. He's got a Mox. He's been able to crop rotate. Like he's mostly been able to just do his game plan, and his deck has done what it does. Which is get Thespian Stage and
Merit Lage.
Yeah.
So this is wow.
Okay.
That's a tough one. This is a tough situation to be in right now. I don't think he was hoping to see that Vampire Hexmage. The question is, does he decide to Wasteland now? No.
Well, if he has another Fatal Push, no. Okay, so this forces it, which is pretty.
Yeah, because he shuts.
That's excellent, actually, because
Because the response, what happens now is
Richard can respond, and then Jeffrey can Wasteland and respond to that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And shutting down the Thespian Stage means that there's no redundancy now.
Yep.
And that might just be enough, by the looks of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Vampire Hexmage Beatdown is probably not. Yeah. Actually, no, but then Okay, yeah. So here's the thing. So the Pithing Needle on the stack. So if he activates, I think he gets a 20/20. Because
No,
think about it. If he activates the Thespian stage in response,
he doesn't have the mana though.
oh, Hexmage costs mana to sacrifice.
No, the mana to activate
Oh,
Thespian stage. That's the point right now. This is like the key part to play.
okay. I didn't realize how much
I
does Thespian stage. Okay,
huh. I guess he named Vampire Hexmage then.
yeah, he must have.
I would have gone with the Thespian stage because you could have wastelanded the Dark Depths in response to the Vampire Hexmage.
Yeah.
But well, no, actually, because I think it does a state check. Because sacrifice happens, doesn't use a stack. Yeah, so I think at this point, naming the Vampire Hexmage probably would have been a bit better of
Which we assume it's what he
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Baleful Strix.
Oh, the Abrupt Decay is pretty good.
Yeah, that would. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any. Well, he does have the green and black sources.
But he doesn't have something for the Baleful Strix.
Yeah. Which means that Jeffrey can afford himself some extra time.
Yep. Very, very interesting game, though, actually.
Yeah. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made. And it looks like he's going to actually do the Abrupt Decay. He's really... Yep. Abrupt Decay is the Pithing Needle. So... Swings in. Takes 2. And I think that will be his turn.
Yep.
Yep, plays a land and passes the turn. So right now he has the opportunity to basically get Merit Lage at any point in time into play.
Yep.
So doing this in sort of the responsive... Doing more responsive play with Merit Lage is usually your best bet. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're waiting on drawing something like Rite of Consumption.
Jeffrey briefly thinking about attacking with the Baleful Strix and realizing that would be insanity.
Yeah, just throw that in front of him.
Yeah.
Instant speed, Merit Lage.
Well, I mean, definitely Richard would not block with the Merit Lage. Well, actually, yeah, he probably would.
Yeah, because
Death Touch doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So Richard loses no life to Bob right now. I think Jeffrey's kind of hoping that he might.
And he's got, I think.
Yep. Look, maybe a Thoughtseize. Or yeah, it's another Hexmage. Yeah, so that level of redundancy right now is just so good. I think Richard's really poised to take this.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad.
Well, no, but again, we don't know what's in Jeffrey's hand. If he has Far and Away, it's just...
Yeah. So it looks like...
Yep, so here we go. Here's the Merit Lage. And Jeffrey can block it for a turn.
Which I think...
It's not great, but he's not dead.
Yeah. I think at this point it's kind of... End step looks like he's going to Brainstorm.
Okay.
So maybe he gets his Far and Away. How many does he have, though? Is it just the... Well, he has 3.
3. So, you know, and he's most likely not dead on the next... Well, there it is.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I really like that Jeffrey has positioned his deck to be able to answer this token. Yeah. You know what I mean? Normally it's kind of like, oh, crap, you got the 20/20 into play. And he can answer it.
Yeah. That's...
And if you think about it, that Far and Away answering a Hexmage, a land, you know, so it's like it's a 2-for-1. Like,
yeah.
Because Richard invested 2 cards into getting that Merit Lage into play, and it's just going to get popped by Far and Away.
So, yep.
Uh-huh. You know, I think Jeffrey definitely knew what deck he wanted to be able to beat this weekend.
Yeah. And he's swinging in with Baleful.
Take one.
Hiya.
Yeah.
So, if nothing else, he's still getting those little bits of damage in to sort of bring the clock in.
There's a crop rotation.
Yep.
And he has a Hex Mage in play, so Jeffrey's not out of the woods.
Yeah. Okay. That's... Well, there you go. I mean, Jeffrey does have a Force of Will in hand, so he might...
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is with crop rotation is you have to sacrifice as an additional cost.
Yes.
So you can actually... A good counter can actually really slow down a player with crop rotation.
Yep.
However, it looks like he's deciding to... wow. I think this is one of those things that you really do have to pull out all your stops for. Especially with a Vampire Hexmage on the field. Yep, and he Force of Wills it.
And is he empty-handed?
Nope, he has one in hand.
Okay.
2 in hand, actually. So, that was...
And so Richard's got a trophy and the Mox, which is just not doing anything.
Yeah. It's kind of a dead card right now.
Yeah.
Especially when you have an Urborg up and most of your land, you're really only looking for like 1 or 2 lands. And
I think this Bob drawing the extra cards is extremely powerful though for Richard, because I mean he's just going to keep finding things that find Dark Depths.
Yeah.
And now that we know there's a second Hex Mage, he's in an okay spot.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect Hexmage beatdowns to be the thing, but it seems like by putting Jeffrey in a defensive position...
Spellstutter Sprite, okay.
By putting Jeffrey in a defensive position and forcing him to really react to the Dark Depths...
Oh, for sure, because we have not seen Jeffrey be able to do his kind of on the offensive game plan at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's attacking with Baleful Strix.
Yeah. So, which is a little bit unfortunate for him.
Mm-hmm.
And Richard's sort of capitalizing on that by just getting all that extra damage in.
Yep. And I mean, Spellstutter Sprite adds an extra power to the board, so it's now a 6-turn clock, but 6 turns is a long time to have to hold off.
Yeah, especially when you're up against a Bob.
Yes.
So.
And I don't think there's anything Bob can flip, which is particularly painful. Like there's a Maelstrom Pulse, which is 3, Lily Last Hope, which is 3, but that's totally you can deal with that.
Yeah. At this point in time, I think Richard can afford having Bob in play.
Yes.
So, is he gonna swing? I guess he tries to get as much as he can out of it.
Yeah, but what else is he gonna do?
Yeah, and
Fatal Push, jeez.
He's going after the Spellstutter Sprite.
I think probably correct.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it makes future Spellstutter Sprites even better. The more fairies you have in play.
Well, I mean, even if you ninjutsu off of the Spellstutter Sprite, you can.
That's right. Yeah, you can just start doing it again.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the things about about Jeffrey's deck is it really does capitalize a lot on
ninjutsu.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like it kind of relies on it. And without being able to kind of get in for that.
I mean, like, he can...
Jeffrey's also been stuck on 2 lands for quite some time.
Yeah. Which is kind of a rough position to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like he might not have drawn another. However, he seems to... trying to keep Richard at pace with him in terms of life.
Okay, so a Delver is great.
Yeah. Assassin's Trophy.
That's okay. There's the land.
Yeah. So he can fetch up that one swamp that he has in his deck, which is actually probably opens up a lot for options.
There's an Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
So, like, the Turbo Depths deck is the control deck here, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
You know?
It's really switched. It's a very different game plan than what...
Yeah, it's just, keep Jeffrey off any serious threats, and then he just kind of has the inevitability.
Yeah. And with the Dark Confidant being there, just kind of makes that inevitability come a little bit faster.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jeffrey seems to be really unsure about the board state, I think. Can't really decide what to do.
Here are the results from the other tables.
Okay. So, we got the results from the other table, which we will read off once this round kind of ends.
Ooh. That's kind of interesting there.
Oh, Liliana Last Hope. So this answers the Bob, which I think is just like Jeffrey has to be thrilled about this because the Bob has really been a problem.
Yeah, it's given Richard more advantage than anything.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there's still that Dryad Arbor, so he's gonna have to.
He copied Dryad Arbor with the Thespian stage.
Nice. So I mean, keeping that pressure up as well. That's
wow.
He's not really. He's really pulling out all the stops here. It's kind of weird seeing a Turbo Depths deck do not Turbo Depths.
No, it's absolutely, and I think maybe he's rightly assessed that there's too many ways for Jeffrey to answer the Merit Lage token.
Yeah.
And I really would not have thought this is a deck that's capable of really doing any kind of plan B. Like, you don't think, oh, he's got threats, he's got Dryad Arbor, which can get copied with Thespian stage, and yet, here we are.
Yeah, it's kind of a surprising mix, and
okay, there's the depths,
and he passes the turn. So again, with the reactive Merit Lage abilities.
So, what do we think? He's not planning on taking ice counters off since he didn't even put the dice on?
I'm kind of confused, because if we know that Thespian Stage is copying Dryad Arbor, why didn't he give Thespian Stage a -1/-?
Well, because how does it work? I think it's only for the turn, right?
No, it becomes a copy, but it still retains the ability to become copies of everything else.
If that's the case, then I think that definitely, yeah. So probably,
huh?
Oh, I guess he could have copied the Dark Depths in response.
Yeah. So they trade.
Well, there's another stage.
Wow, I think
this is nuts.
Yeah, I think Jeffrey might actually have a chance now, because the board state has completely changed.
I think he's doing pretty good, and who would have thought that Liliana the Last Hope with the -2 would just
and Gurmag.
All right, well, this is gonna end in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, unless Richard pulls another Assassin's Trophy out from somewhere. I don't think he has any left, though.
Yeah, I think he's only got the one.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Richard doesn't really have an answer right now. I mean, unless he draws another Dark Depths. But that's kind of...
Alright, what was it? It was, I think that's a forest?
Yep.
So, I mean, he's going to go to 1. But then he's just dead because 2 attackers.
Yeah. I think it's a bit surprising.
Yeah.
He's down to 2. So, and another Gourmet.
Well, that would probably be all right.
What does he have for Maelstrom Pulses, though?
He does have Maelstrom Pulse.
He used one earlier, I believe. Or I think might have been an Assassin's Trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yep.
And
it looks like...
That's the game.
Yeah.
So, really interesting game. A lot of back and forth. Honestly, like, Richard had the inevitability there, and then Liliana Last Hope just completely flipped the game.
Yeah.
Kind of on its side. Like, being able to get rid of the Bob, and then Jeffrey having access to his own card advantage, being able to just churn out a bunch of Gurmag anglers. Awesome game. Really well played, I think, by both players. I was quite impressed with that.
Yeah.
Now, we do have the results of our other match, because, unsurprisingly, this game was the game that went the longest. If you would like to do us the honor.
All right, so it looks like Matt Riddell was knocked out, actually. Justin ended up taking the win from that. So we probably get to see Justin's deck next. Ben Liu took over James Everson with the win there, and Jay Riley expectedly won against Andy Lang. So we're probably going to see Jay Riley up again.
And what was Jay playing? Was he also on the Turbo Depths?
He was playing Sneak Show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, the top 8 can be a little bit tricky because it's a single round elimination at that point.
Yeah.
And if you get a pairing that,
is not good for you,
yeah, you're just kind of out.
Yeah. Which is kind of, I feel like, it's sort of like a goal, like aim for top 8 because you can like get a bad pairing sort of thing, but like in terms of the top 8, you kind of got to get fortunate. That's our next feature match?
No, this is Jay versus Jeff.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Ninja versus Omni Show.
I am excited. Yeah. So, in the next feature match, we're going to see Jay playing Omni Show, who we saw earlier, and Jeff is going to be bringing out his Blue-Black Ninja deck again. Have to imagine he's exhausted after that game.
Yeah, so, that was...
No break, feature match again.
Yeah, that's sort of the issue about being in a grindy match, though, is you exhaust yourself and you're up again like 2 minutes later.
Yep. On the other table, which we will not be seeing, we found out what Justin is playing. Justin is playing Miracles.
Oh, that's...
And he's going to be playing against Ben, who is on Grixis Delver.
Well, I've seen Justin's Miracle deck before. It was a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. He plays it quite well, so I kind of want to see how far he takes it this time.
Yeah.
It's Miracles is kind of that deck that... Oh, sorry.